glorious sunshine.
I remember.
But I think, oh dear.
That's your alarm.
Yeah, telling me I've got to buy, go online to Liverpool FC to buy tickets for Chelsea.
Hello and welcome everyone to Wednesday's Talking Reds in association with Tokyo Time. I'm here once again, just about, with Rob Gutmann. I mean, I know you've got a lot of places to be, Rob, so...
Sorry, man. You know, I'm under a lot of pressure to be here on time this morning, even though 2 weeks ago I was like an hour late. But
yes, you were an hour.
These are other people's, not other people's problems.
And I was actually here before you today.
Yeah, you were.
I should probably point that out.
Yeah, I did it noted.
Yes, thank you. It's just for admin purposes.
Well, I love you.
That's great.
I do.
Now, speaking of admin purposes, that's kind of what the show is going to be about today, because the international break has officially ended. Our players are coming back or have come back from all around the world. We're going to kind of run you down how they've all done, how many of them are still survived, and what that potentially means for our team, for Spurs. So we should probably start with the main man himself, Mo Salah, who only played one game, but
what a game.
Got a lot into it, I have to say. Now, those of you who don't know, they were playing against Niger. He managed to score 2 goals, also get 2 assists, but he also managed to miss 2 penalties.
And if you're doing a Venn diagram of all those things, one of them overlaps.
Yes, because one of the goals was off the rebound from one of the missed penalties.
Yes.
Now, they weren't very good penalties, Rob, I have to say. Now,
I didn't see them, no.
Neither of them were in the corner. The first one down to the right, keeper's right, saved it easily. The second one, I think he's tried to go with power, and it's kind of really close to the centre on the left-hand side. Keeper saved it easily. Do you think he's now going to, come off penalties? Do you think he's going to be happier to go down the pecking order? Because we saw the last couple of times we've had penalties, there's been a bit of a debate in which he's wanting to get involved. So do you think he will now, if Milner or even say someone like Mane says, no, you're all right, man, we'll have this one, he's more likely to let it go?
His Liverpool strike rate is 50%, I think, on pens. Missed 1, scored 1. I think that's what it is. He becomes a penalty taker, a famous one, because he scores the last-minute one for Egypt to qualify for the World Cup. And everyone acts as though that's acted at the time like that was one of the greatest penalties of all time. It was a pressure pot. There's no getting away from that. But I've seen nothing in Mo's technique as a penalty taker to make me think he's a penalty taker. Liverpool should not go near him as a penalty taker for the time being. I understand there's a temptation for managers to go, if he's your top scorer, your main goal guy, it's nice to swell his numbers and his confidence with penalties, but not at the expense of the team. So, sorry, but there is a phenomenon which you might continue with Egypt, because he's so far the main man there. It's like Messi at Barca. Have you actually seen Messi's stats on his penalties?
He's not very good.
He's fucking awful. Yeah. He's like one of the worst penalty takers in Europe, Messi. But they still keep him on penalty duties. It's like he's in his contract. And I think that's Mo in Egypt.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Maybe he can use his Egypt penalty time to kind of hone his technique a little bit, so he won't be so desperate to take them when he plays for us.
Yeah.
Now, talking of the rest of the front three, Bobby Firmino, he managed to score for Brazil against USA. A game in which all 3 of our Brazilians played. Alisson kept a clean sheet. Fabinho played the full 90 minutes at right back.
I'm very interested by this.
And did very well by all accounts. He kind of set up, or should we say won, the penalty, which was scored by Neymar for the second clinching goal. It is interesting, isn't it? Do you see an opportunity for him to get minutes at right back before central midfield for Liverpool?
Really good question. There's a part of me that, if I'm projecting maybe 6 months into the future, in my fantasy LFC 11, I think Trent's a midfield player. I think he's almost too good to be a right back.
Okay.
I mean, he comes up through the ranks in the youth teams. I've watched him in midfield all over the place, and he's Gerrard-like at times, gets into wide positions. He's a box-to-box, ball winner, goals. He's got it all. I mean, we've seen glimpses of that from right back. Mm-hmm. So part of me would go, my fantasy Liverpool side is I'd keep Jordan Skipper at number 6, and I'd have Naby Keita and Trent as 2 number 8s ahead. I think that could be tasty.
Now, I mean, he did get a little bit of experience last season.
A couple of games.
Away at Chelsea, I remember.
I think Stoke at home, did he play? We drew. He's a bit unlucky not to get on the score sheet.
There were almost like the good and bad from it. You could see, I remember the Chelsea game in particular, there were some times where you were thinking, wow, this could really develop into something. But you could still see the fact that there were certain elements about the positional play that he was...
He's 19.
He's nothing. And he's got a massively high ceiling. We all know that.
So we could be 3 years away from needing to have this conversation about it. But I suppose there is still a question begged, is he can't play every single game, and therefore there's a deputy right-back position there. I would begin to wonder, good as Nathaniel Clyne is, encouraging as he's been in his comeback appearances and in pre-season, I wonder if Klopp might look at Fabinho first in training and go, what he offers going forward from right back could be so much more than Nathaniel Clyne.
I think the problem Clyne's going to have is what games are you saying he's at the best for? Because obviously the bigger, more important games, it's going to be Trent. But then if we're playing against the so-called lesser teams who may be coming to defend, then we're going to want a more attacking right back. So that doesn't really suit him either. So you're right, we might actually see the adoption of Fabinho, which will be sad for Nathaniel Clyne, but obviously, by the same token, if he's now our third choice right back, it's like, wow, that's some serious depth.
I mean, Klopp can't ignore. I mean, sometimes managers get into their heads and go, no, he's a midfielder, forget that right back, and that's part of the past. And they get into a mindset where that just isn't going to happen. But the fact that he's playing right back, getting right back in the Brazil team, one of the world's main sports teams, right, is a big deal.
Yeah.
Klopp can't ignore that that's happened. Whether he consciously says, no, I have my own opinion, that manager has his own opinion. You can't ignore that. And the fact that he excelled there is going to open the Liverpool manager's eyes. So I wouldn't be surprised. Your question, to come back to this, could he start right back before midfield? I wouldn't rule it out. I could see it happening against Chelsea in the League Cup, maybe.
Interesting. Now, with the Brazilian players in general, none of them played last night. They were excused from the game. Brazil still won 5-0 without them, including 2 goals from Richarlison.
Really?
It was quite interesting, actually.
When did this game happen? In the middle of last night?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Most normal people were asleep that way.
Okay.
But yeah, the good news is that our lads are already on their way back. Now, obviously, there were no Man City players in the squad, so they couldn't share a plane. But you never know, they might have shared a plane with Fred and Andres Pereira on the way back.
Why did they get excused? Was it they pretending?
That's a very good question, Rob. I don't know the answer.
Jesus didn't go. He was pretend injured, like Raheem was pretend injured.
Well, I think with some of them, Tito was doing I know what some players give me. I want to give some new guys a go. But obviously, Neymar was still there, Coutinho was still there, Thiago Silva was still there. So it's like, well, really? You've just not picked Fernandinho and Jesus, haven't you? Really?
The City players.
Yeah. Danilo, I believe, is still injured. So he was obviously...
I mean, has Guardiola been having conversations with international managers? Because how many of their boys go away there? Raheem doesn't. Does Aguero go with Argentina?
I don't know if he did go with Argentina. I imagine he would have done. I imagine... As much as Argentina have got riches up front, I imagine he would still want to be in and around. And again, it's all about how easy it is to persuade the players. Because if the players wanted to go, I think Aguero is still in a big fight for his place. Although with Jesus, he's a little bit younger, you can say to him, like, your time will come. And most people in Brazil believe that.
Yeah.
So,
interesting, Leroy Sané goes with Germany. Because he needs minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But we shouldn't be bitter about stuff. Forget that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, by the time we get to that game, everyone will be on equal footing in terms of fitness and form and all that kind of stuff. So it's not massively important in terms of the comparison. But
how have the Spurs boys done? Have they've been away?
Yes, the Belgian Spurs lads, I believe most of them have played. Although Vertonghen and Alvaro Dembele, I believe they all played.
That's good.
The England guys, Kane was the only one to play 2 games, but they all got at least some minutes.
Yeah.
Again, I think that we're all on just about a level. There was a lot of a kind of consternation regarding Kane and how he was being protected and all that kind of stuff. But when you're an international manager, there's a certain amount of politics that goes into the game. So I don't really begrudge it.
I mean, what we can't complain about is that our front 3 only got to play a game each.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really good.
Yes, so that's true.
They'll have had virtually a full week at Melwood. I mean, it's the most preparation we'll have had in an international break for a good long time, I think, with the most number of players. If you tot it all up.
Yes.
We're used to having to Coutinho and Firmino arrive the Friday with the game the Saturday morning and make a decision on that. This is a luxury. Really.
Yes, we're not going to be perturbed by what they've... We don't have to kind of suit what we've done based on what they've done. The only players who really had a high workload is Andy Robertson and Virgil van Dijk, who both played a full 90s twice.
Yeah.
Gini Wijnaldum played a game and a half. And again, Jordan Henderson played bits of 2 games. But other than that, I think everyone else was pretty much 1 game.
What helps this actually will help us with this a little bit further down the line. We've actually run into this major fixture congestion period. So we don't want this to have been effectively a 2 games in a week situation. So they've effectively had best part of a week off either side.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Oh, actually, no, Shaqiri, he was another one who played a big part in 2 games because he played the most of the game last night.
But
But
he needs the minutes.
He does need the minutes. Of all of the players that we had who were out for international duty, he's probably the one who I was quite happy with to see him play and get some minutes and get some creative juices flowing, because we are going to need him, and it's probably going to need him sooner rather than later.
I enjoyed the bits and pieces I watched last night of him. They played him as a pretty deep number 10. What you want to call that position these days. They said it was a number 10. It feels far too much in midfield to be a true number 10 position. Although he gets a couple of shooting chances, doesn't he? But I thought his link play was really, really good. He's very trustworthy with the ball, Shaqiri.
Yes.
I mean, we could see we were given a little masterclass in that at Leicester, weren't we? Where Klopp brought him on just to keep the ball in the corner for 10 minutes, and he did it superbly well. But generally,
and I mean, for creative attacking players, that's quite rare, because normally they're given license, try things. If it doesn't come off, and they're more likely to then lose the ball. But because he's so good on the ball, so good at protecting it, when he does try those things as well, he's got a higher successful rate with that as well.
Yeah, I've not really ever looked at his pass completion stats, because I think with attacking players it's often meaningless because of the things they must try. But he's a very good one-touch footballer, as well as being able to hold it and put his foot on it and lift his head up. If you just ping a ball into him, he can lay it off first time. There's a lot of little crisp volleyed passes last night. He's very, very good, James Shaqiri, quietly.
Kind of made the England midfield look even stodgier than they actually were in comparison as well.
Yeah.
That has to be said. Now, obviously, our boy Trent was playing for England, and I thought he had another very good game. Played about 78 minutes, I believe. And yeah, he pretty much owned that right flank. He was getting up and down, supporting the attacks as well as being part of the defence. And I noticed as well that quite a few times where he was making the inside right forward run, whereby he'd start the possession, play inside, pass it outside, and then go and run and find his way into the box. He was in the box when balls were being crossed in quite a few times, which is, it's quite exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see him and Trippier face off on Saturday. Because I think Trippier looks good, but I'm not seeing it in terms of why he's getting picked ahead of Trent. Maybe a bit more defensive assuredness from him, but I don't know.
Well,
I'm biased.
Yeah, we are slightly biased, but I guess the Saturday will be a very good opportunity to see exactly how that goes on and exactly who has got the most defensive nous, because I believe they're both going to be tested.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are good attacks.
Yes, they are very good attacks. Now, one more point I want to make about the international break. We touched on it a little bit just now with Van Dijk and Andy Robertson. Now, we've been speaking throughout this break about how good it is to have so many international captains. I believe there's now 5 international captains in the Liverpool squad and another 2 vice.
Van
Dijk, Robbo, Mane, Salah, and...
Does Jordan count?
Jordan doesn't count. There is a 5th, and I've literally just forgotten who it was. But anyway, there's definitely 5.
Shaqiri.
No, I don't think it's Shaqiri. Anyway, in the comments, I'm sure you'll be able to remember who the 5th member of that little clan is. The point being, those 5 players are going to find it a lot harder to get any rest during the international break, because obviously being the captain, specifically someone like Andy Robbo, who's a new captain, and he's going to be meant to be the leader of a brand new Scotland team. It's a whole new generation. So whereas sometimes with some players we can say, oh yeah, well, he's only going to play 1 game, he's going to get a little bit of rest. A lot of our players, when it gets to the crunch time of specifically the March international break, it's going to be a lot harder to see them get the rest that they may need.
Yeah, that's a worry. That's depressed me slightly, that threw me. I'd hope the other side of it, though, is you see an elevation in their status. A bit like you can see with Salah. I do think there comes a point where Klopp can go to the Egypt manager or to the Dutch manager. You know how important he is to you. He is the same to me.
Yeah.
We all need to take care of him, okay? So you've got 2 games in March, just 1, please. because you want to have him fit for your summer tournament or whatever. We all need to watch him.
Yeah, one hand kind of protects the other in that respect.
Yeah, I think it's maybe more. I know what you're saying. The captain almost ceremonially has to be there, but it is also an elevation to one of the best player statuses. And I think to that end, well, obviously it's good because you want best players.
Yes,
but I also think there's much more care has to be taken with them.
I think in the friendly matches, there's definitely going to be a lot easier to see them managed. But when it comes to competitive matches, especially now with the Nations League, meaning there's more competitive matches, it might well be tricky in the future. Now, after this little break, I want to talk to you particularly, and you guys, about what all of this means for the game against Spurs and who may or may not be working their way into the team. But for now, it's a little message from John.
Tokyo Time is sponsoring Talking Reds for Wednesdays for the foreseeable future, which were made up about. They're a Liverpool company. They're trying to do things differently. They're trying to do things better, a bit like the Anfield wrap. And so they've set up only recently, but already got a lot of traction for kind of what they want to do. They helped us out in America. They gave us hats to wear over there and very much needed they were in that bacon sun next to the pitch watching the Liverpool boys train. So yeah, since then they've come in, they've asked us about doing something a little bit more formal. So that's what we're going to do. So they're going to be sponsoring Wednesdays on the Talking Reds for the foreseeable future. If you're into your baseball caps, you're into your street style, or you know anyone else who is, or you're looking for presents to buy for people, do check out their website. It's tokyotime.co.uk, or follow them on Instagram. They've got loads of styles, something for everyone, and the fit is really, really good. So yeah, cheers to the boys for supporting us. They're supporting us, so do try and support them, tokyotime.co.uk.
Thanks again to John there, and you'll be seeing a more wide range of the products available over the coming weeks and so let's get back to the game against Spurs, because obviously all that international stuff, it's all good for one bit, but the real stuff's starting again soon. It's a big game, 12:30, lunchtime kickoff against Spurs, Rob. How are you feeling?
Very excited, man. We're getting in the car 6 o'clock from Liverpool Saturday morning. I wanted to get up at 3 a.m. Can't get there too quickly. No, it's you know what? We've got something to put right from last year. It was an early kickoff last year. It was an absolutely abysmal disaster of a game, really scarring. But yes, we have to put that right. But I strongly feel if we are to be more than just making noise about being in contention for this title, we've got to put down a marker of a performance early doors, one that says, no one intimidates us, and Tottenham are ripe for it. I'd rather have to do that than at, say, City right now, even Old Trafford, whereby there's just that edge to it, that Mourinho thing. Spurs can beat us, but we can beat Spurs.
Yes, we can. I mean, Spurs are going to have Son back, a very happy Son back, who can stop having to train how to load a gun.
Dodge the draft.
Yeah, very much dodge the draft. So he's going to be walking on air. He's another element we've got to take care of. Obviously, they've converted Lucas Moura into this kind of second striker business. We don't know whether or not they're both going to play. But let's talk about us. Let's talk about our team. Now, off the back of this international break, I'll say we've seen various performances. We've also spoken about the fact that Klopp is probably going to start to look to put a bit more rotation into the side now. Do you think that's going to start with Spurs? Do you see anyone making their way into the starting 11 who you wouldn't maybe surprise? Or maybe even if we take the Leicester 11, where we had the midfield of Wijnaldum, Milner, Henderson, do you see that being the three for Spurs? If not, who do you see coming out?
I think the defence, the defence he's been picking for the last few games represents 4 changes out of the back 5 from last year's debacle. And I think he's going to be keen to see this new back 5 together. So I see no changes there unless there are any last-minute niggles. Naby Keita sat out Leicester, came on later on. He's only played 1 game. It's a tricky one because Klopp may feel he needs a more defensive shape in midfield at White Hart Lane, but Naby's a bit of both. Whether he feels Naby's still defensively up to speed up enough for the Premier League, I'm not sure. But I would like to see Naby come back in, and I think he will come back in. I think Jordan Henderson will play at the base, and really it's then whether he wants Wijnaldum or Milner. I think if he's thinking slightly more defensively, you go with Ginny, but then against that, Milner hasn't played any football for 2 weeks and will be fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, well, he had his little runabout up there in his cancer game against Celtic, obviously. But
against Jamie Redknapp or something.
Yeah, we can't really call that for proper minutes, but you're right. It's interesting as well because with these big games, Milner and his experience of that big game mentality can really come into play. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Gini who sits out, despite how well he has been playing and how well, by all accounts, he played for Holland against France. Just gone.
Do you think he'd see Henderson, Keita and Milner as balanced? I don't know. I'm not sure. That's the tricky one. Whether he'd again make Naby sit out and think, do you know what, I'll unleash him at Anfield against PSG. I don't know.
Or maybe have him in reserve to kind of unleash later in the game, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think he's likely to go pretty similar for Paris Saint-Germain next week, that if there's going to be a change, it'll happen in midfield. So you could almost see a rotation emerging between these key 4 centre mids now, can't you? Fabinho on the outside of that pack just for now, but you can see like 1 in, 1 out almost every game, which is a little bit of freshness here and there. I think it helps.
And it's probably the most important place to have that freshness, because obviously, like you say, at the back, it's more about developing the relationship, and they're all quite strong in terms of durability at the moment. And the front 3, they kind of pick themselves, particularly in games like this. Once we get further into this block, we might start to see changes there. But no, I agree with you. On all counts, I'm excited, and I think that we've got a great team. I think we can go there and win that game. So hopefully the lads are watching this, and this will be that extra pep that they need to go out and get the job done. Now, that's all from us today. There are some more things happening on the Anfield Wrap, as there always are. There will be some more highlights edited out, coming out on the website that will be available for you. Moments in time that just came out.
Very good.
Which has been getting lots of really
documentary.
Good response. The documentary around the 2001 FA Cup final, where I gave myself concussion. Those of you who don't know, I'll tell that.
Were you in Cardiff that day?
Oh no, I was in Stoke.
Okay, fine. I was in Cardiff getting sunstroke, by the way.
Oh, really?
The Liverpool end was caught in glorious sunshine.
I remember.
But I think, oh dear.
That's your alarm.
Yeah, Timmy, I've got to buy, go online to Liverpool FC to buy tickets for Chelsea. Life doesn't stop.
So this is now why you see why he was so keen for us to do this quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a good reason. Jeez, I'm doing a Liverpool show. I do actually go to Liverpool games.
It is.
Who knew?
I know, right?
Even a real. So let's wind it up.
I'm really trying to wind it up here, honestly. No, thanks for joining us. We're looking forward, as I say, to Spurs game on Saturday, some more than others. And we'll be back next week.
It's funny Stefan said that. It's not something that's come back to me too often. I remember doing exactly the same myself. Just lying there, you're not quite sure what to do. Listen, in Istanbul, we won a penalty shootout. Everyone was running everywhere. But in Cardiff, you were a bit overwhelmed by the fact of how have we won this? And the FA Cup, the heat, shattered, and just lying there for a minute or so before you get involved with the celebrations and the players and different things. And yeah, it was like that. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that, and as you've just mentioned there, I'd forgotten how late Arsenal scored. I thought it was maybe 60 odd or something like half an hour to come back, but it's not far away from 15 minutes away from sort of the end of the game. So I think that would have been just shock as well that we'd actually won the game. And the great thing about that day is, and that gets forgotten a little bit because of what come 3 or 4 years later in Istanbul, was that for a lot of Liverpool fans was their greatest moment as a Liverpool fan, because it's been probably the 90s hadn't gone great with winning trophies. So a lot of the younger fans get involved. You go to Cardiff, and to win a cup final like that, and the scenes, my family explained to me afterwards, in the stands when Michael scored, and people are just jumping everywhere, falling down seats, stairs, everything, because you can't actually believe that the game's being won. And an absolutely special moment that sometimes gets forgotten, and rightly so. We're making the most of it now.